Kutlakh the World Killer and Toholk the Blinded. Time for some more Forge World Necrons.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another Forge World Necron tactical video for you. And this one we're going to have a look at the 2 HQs for the Maynarkh Dynasty. Before that though, if you would like to keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please give me a sub and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so not only do we have all of the HQ choices in the Necron Index, we also have 2 more HQ choices from Forge World. So let's have a look at these 2 HQ choices, and we're going to start off with Kutlakh the World Killer. Okay, so the World Killer can move 5 inches. He has a weapon skill and a ballistic skill of 2+. He's strength and toughness of 5, and he has 6 wounds. He has 3 attacks with leadership 10 and a 2+ save. His faction keywords are Necrons and Maynarkh. His keywords are character, infantry, overlord, Kutlakh the World Killer. Okay, so looking at the killer's stats there, those are pretty impressive. A weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2+ and a 2+ save. He has those 6 wounds, and you have to say as an overlord, those stats do look pretty impressive. And coming in at just over 200 points with its supplied weapons, this guy seems quite reasonable. So, what are the supplied weapons? Okay, well, just like most of our characters, this guy comes with a Staff of Light. Now, he doesn't have any war gear option, so he can't change that weapon. Now, the Staff of Light is quite reasonable at shooting, although it's only 12 inches, and it's not bad in close combat. However, you're not going to be using that Staff of Light in close combat, because he also comes with an Obstidax. The Obstidax is a pretty decent close combat weapon. It's not as good as it used to be in the past. However, it is strength 5, -3 AP, and does D3 damage. So not the greatest weapon in the world, but it is quite reasonable. And he does hit on 2s with that fantastic weapon skill. Right, let's have a look at some of his abilities and see how they can enhance him. Okay, so to start with, he has living metal. Not only that, and more importantly, he has phylactery. That means your living metal becomes D3 wounds that you can regain. That is pretty nice. Now, not only that, he also has a phase shifter. That gives him a 4+ invulnerable save, a 2+ normal save, 6 wounds, and being able to regain D3 wounds each turn. That makes him pretty survivable. Now, just like our normal overlords, this guy also has My Will Be Done, a range of 6 inches as usual. However, this is only for Maynarkh Infantry Dynasty units. But this shouldn't be a problem, because you're probably going to have some dedicated Maynarkh units on the table anyway, because you're going to want to take full advantage of the next special rule. So if you make your World Killer your Warlord, he gains the Incarnate special rule. And that allows any Maynarkh infantry units within 12 inches of this guy being able to advance and charge in the same turn. So all of a sudden, all of your units around this guy are going to be quite threatening, especially those assault units, like Lich Guard or flayed ones. You're going to be able to move, you're going to be able to advance, and then you're going to be able to assault. That's a good amount of movement. Now, it's all these rules which obviously indicate to us that this guy is a great assault supporting unit. Now, he's not actually that bad in assault himself, and he does have a special rule that if his leadership is greater than the unit he's assaulting, he gets to reroll 1s, and he's already got a weapon skill of 2+. So not to be sniffed at in close combat himself, however, he is designed to help your other units get into close combat. Put this guy in with a big unit of Lich Guard, maybe even 2 units of Lich Guard, and walk them across the table with some dispersion shields. That could be quite nasty. Okay, so that's the World Killer covered. Now we need to have a look at Toholk the Blinded. Okay, so Toholk the Blinded. This character is based around a cryptic, but once again with the Maynarkh Dynasty. So first of all, let's have a look at his stats. Okay, so Toholk the Blinded has a movement of 5 inches. He's got a weapon skill and a ballistic skill of 3+. He's strength 4 with toughness 5, and he has 4 wounds. He's got 2 attacks, leadership 10, and a 4+ save. His faction keywords are Necrons, Maynarkh, and his keywords are character, infantry, cryptic, and Toholk the Blinded. Okay, so coming in at 165 points, this guy has a very similar stats to the Cryptic, with the exception that it's toughness 5. So let's have a look at his weapons. Right, well first of all he has a transdimensional beamer, quite an odd weapon to have on a character. It's a heavy D3, it's strength 4 with -3 AP and does 1 point of damage. However, any 6s are mortal wounds. It's quite a nice gun, it's a bit short range, and of course if he moves he's going to be shooting on 4s rather than 3s. Now for close combat he has an Eon Staff. This is quite an interesting weapon. It's strength 4, -1 AP and does 2 points of damage. And it has quite an unusual special rule. If you manage to wound a unit with this particular close combat weapon, that unit can no longer advance in the next turn. Now I'm not convinced that this special rule is actually really worthwhile. Okay, you may be able to slow down some Harlequins if they want to come out of the assault, but would they really want to do that? If you can work out what this weapon special rule is about, then please let me know in the comments box below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, so that's his weapons, and he also doesn't have any war gear options, so you're stuck with those particular weapons. But it's fair to say this guy isn't necessarily about the weapons that he has, he's more about the war gear options. So let's take a look at those. So just like a Cryptic, he has Chronometron. However, it's only for Maynarkh Dynasties, but it does give any Maynarkh Dynasty unit within 3 inches of this guy a 5+ invulnerable save. And to run alongside that, he has Chronometron. So any Maynarkh unit within 3 inches can add 1 to their RP roll. So this guy's great to have in and around your Maynarkh faction units. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 2 special rules that really make this guy stand out. The first one being he can re-roll the Seize the Initiative dice roll. That is pretty nice to have, especially in an army where you want to go first. So I'm really liking that special rule, but he also has Eternal Engines. So at the start of each battle round, you're able to select a Maynarkh vehicle unit within 6 inches of this guy, and you can turn its living metal from 1 wound to D3 wounds. That makes your living metal from vehicles very, very good, and if you coupled that with maybe a Tomb Spider with fabricated claws, you could start to gain quite a number of wounds off of your vehicles. So those key vehicles that you want to keep alive, maybe like a pylon, you can really gain those wounds back quite rapidly each turn. And I think this is what this guy's all about. He's basically a Cryptic, which is slightly tougher. Now he does have living metal himself, of course, and he's great at supporting vehicle units. Now just like the World Killer, all of these abilities are all based around the Maynarkh Dynasty. So if you're taking these 2 guys, you want to be focusing on Maynarkh units. Now of course you do have the ability to take different dynasties within your unit. So like I said, if you want to use the World Killer with Lichguard, you could maybe just select those units to have that particular dynasty. But the more dynasties with these particular factions you have in your army, the better off you're going to be to use those abilities. Indeed, I think there's a good argument to make your whole army this particular dynasty and have both of these characters in your army. Toholk in the backfield supporting your units and your vehicles, and then Kutlakh at the front field supporting your assault units. So I think there's definitely room for both of these characters in a Necron list. But I'd love to know what you think. Have you used these characters and how have you got on with them? Do you use them individually in a list or do you use them in a combination? Let's continue the conversation below, and I'll see you in next week's Forge World Necron video. Beam me up!